Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to talk about the top 5 league starters from last league 3.22 as we get ready for our league start testing in 3.23. Now I've been testing out league starters since the beginning of the events. Basically each event I use as an opportunity to solo self-found test a different league starter. So while I'm pretty well started into this process already, I know a lot of people are just jumping back into PoE to get their league starts ready. So that's what the video is for. I think it's always great to go back and look at the top 5 or top 10 whatever from last season and go from there. We don't have the patch notes yet, so I'm also including this what to watch out for in the patch notes. I think we're all expecting some sort of kind of big-ish meta shakeup for the skills. We'll see if that actually happens. I want to include what to watch out for the patch note that would affect these builds in particular. So with that, let's get started into why we're doing this. Again, league start testing. I make guides or build guides. I want to get my league starter nailed down and get that rolling as soon as possible, so that's why I do this. Then honestly, there's nothing else to do before patch notes. I've been doing a bunch of like acts 1 through 10 runs of different league starters, trying to see which ones I like, playstyle, all that sort of stuff. And just going back and looking to see what was popular last year is super, super important to that process. Alright, so where are we pulling this data from? PoE Ninja, PoE.ninja. We go back, we look at the day 3 from last year. The screenshot I took from a different league, so this isn't quite accurate, but I did update all the data. So we look at the first 3 days of the league, see what was super popular. That usually gives you the first weekend of data of what skills were being played. Sort by skill, kind of matchup overlaps. There's a lot of skills that kind of overlap the same playstyle, same basic build, and go from there. I like to point out right here, these are the 5 most popular builds. They're not the 5 best builds. I wouldn't even know how to rank best builds for every individual person, but these are the most popular from last league. Alright. I want to start off with an honorable mention this time, as this wasn't a super popular build, but I think if you were to restart 3.22 from the beginning, knowing what we know now, this would easily be in the top 5, and that is Guardian Minions. Guardian was reworked in 3.22, so it wasn't super popular at League Start. We weren't sure how the new Radiant Crusade and Unwavering Crusade minion nodes in Guardian would work. Turns out they're actually super broken. The first lab from Radiant Crusade gives you the big Guardian Sentinel minion that basically can carry you through the entire campaign and probably white maps. And then Unwavering Crusade gives you the triple aura buffs of Anger, Wrath, and Hatred, which was, honestly, looking back on it, we all should have realized this was completely broken. I actually league started Guardian Skeleton Mages. It was incredibly broken. My guess is these 2 nodes alone will get tuned quite down, but that's what we're going to be looking out for in patch notes. If this doesn't get changed, Guardian will probably be the most popular league starter and will be incredibly broken once again. It is the minion playstyle, so I guess if you don't like playing minions, this isn't the build for you, but it was incredibly, incredibly strong. So that's why I'm giving it an honorable mention before we start into the top 5. Number 5 was actually surprising to me. There were like 4 really, really popular builds, and the 5th one was like a toss-up between a few. Looks like Spark was actually the most popular. It was played on mostly Inquisitor, a little bit of Trickster. Weird for me was like, I was looking at day 3 builds, and I found that all of them were pretty much using Call of the Brotherhood, Heat Shiver. You're going to see that Heat Shiver pop up a bunch in these top like 5 builds. Spark is just good. If you can clear the entire screen with Spark, it's good. I'm not sure what build they're playing before this, or if they're playing Spark the entire way, but pretty much every build I looked at that was towards the top of leveling was using double Call of the Brotherhood rings, and then a Heat Shiver to do like double damage. So they're converting lightning to cold with Call of the Brotherhood, and then a bunch of extra fire damage with Heat Shiver because they're doing cold damage. So a lot of necessary uniques. Spark is an interesting playstyle. Basically, you can clear the whole screen, but quite good. So Spark was popular. I'll probably have to test this out to see if it was actually good, but having like super necessary uniques in my league starter is not something I'm really interested in doing. Number 4, Righteous Fire. Righteous Fire was the most popular build from 3.21 league start. It's down to number 4. Obviously, Righteous Fire is still incredibly popular. I throw Fire Trap in there as well, as Fire Trap is used as the bossing skill for Righteous Fire. There were 3 ascendancies that were used for this: Inquisitor, Jug, and Chieftain. Fire Dot in general isn't always incredibly popular. We had the Fire Trap builds, Righteous Fire, all that sort of stuff. But Righteous Fire was far and away the most popular version of Fire Dot. This is a trap and dot playstyle, scales well as gem level, so that's all super good. I think if you're looking out for what could possibly get nerfed here, I would say Righteous Fire is probably due for a nerf. It's been top 5 league starter for like, since the last time I got a big skill change. But it's super popular. There's a ton of good resources out there. I think this is kind of one of those skills that GGG loves to have in the games because they're just it's so like new player friendly. There's a lot of good resources for it. I don't know if this could change. I think there'd have to be a big change to fire dot in general for this ability to get changed. But it's possible that a direct nerf to Righteous Fire would change this as well. Regardless, it's a good laid back playstyle. I think it does have problem scaling. It's dot cap, obviously, though. I think if your build's hitting dot cap, it's like you're doing all the content in the game. So whatever, right? Number 3 is another popular one. It was number 2 last league. It's number 3 this league. Bone Shatter. Played on Juggernaut and Slayer. Very tanky. You get big burst damage. It's super fast mapper. This is a mistake I made last week. I was talking about Bone Shatter. It's actually an incredibly fast mapper. You just leap slam, do your Bone Shatter. Everything's dead on your screen. So really good. Problem with this is it's melee. I don't like playing melee. There's in current form of Path of Exile being you don't need to be that close to your enemy, and it's incredibly dangerous. And then you also need a pretty good weapon to scale this ability. I don't know how Bone Shatter gets nerfed at all because it would take the only thing that would nerf Bone Shatter, let me say, is a direct nerf to Bone Shatter. Melee in general isn't going to get nerfed. Fizz melee especially isn't getting nerfed. Like it'd have to be a direct nerf to Bone Shatter somehow, or the Juggernaut or Slayer. So I don't see either any of that happening other than a direct nerf to Bone Shatter. If you're a Bone Shatter enjoyer, you want to give it a try. I don't see how this gets nerfed at all. All right, number 2 is a new one to the top 5 list. Is Hex Blast Miner. It was played mostly on Saboteur. I don't know if you played on a different playstyle. It probably was just wrong. Saboteur is probably the best. My problem with this build is the mine playstyle. So you run around, you plant mines and press detonate mines. The trick to this is you put detonate mines on left click. It's instant cast. It's just going all the time. So you place and they explode immediately. Whether you like that playstyle, it's up to you. I'm not a huge fan. This just seems like mine just seems like a worse version of Trap to me. But they're both not my ideal playstyle. My biggest problem with this build is like a lot to set up, a lot of small details. Without knowing fully what you're doing jumping into this build, you're probably going to screw it up somewhere along the way. You need to be cursing. It's like the way the resistances work with Hex Blast Miner is it goes off of lowest resistance, not chaos resistance, even though it's a chaos skill. There's a lot going on with this ability. Without going to a full guide on it or really understanding the ability, you're going to probably make a few mistakes. But it was very good. It's very good at like screen clearing maps. It's a miner, so it's very good at bossing, or can be very good at bossing, because you can put down all your mines preemptively and then explode them on top of a boss. So Hex Blast Miner was number 2. It was a new addition to this league. I don't know how this build gets nerfed. It'd have to be a direct nerf to Hex Blast, I believe, because mine playstyle isn't super popular. But direct nerf to Hex Blast is probably how this would get changed. Or curses. Number 1, Lightning Arrow. Lightning Arrow was, I believe, number 4 last league. It got way more popular. We kind of got into this meta of just pushing out the same builds, and Lightning Arrow is the best mapper of all the builds, and it became the best, most popular build. Mostly played on Deadeye. There were some Raiders and Champions in there, but Deadeye was by far the most popular. The +2 to projectile skills is just insane. It's a zoomer bow build. You can blast through maps. My biggest problem with bow builds is like you're not going to do like boss farming with these builds. That's not what they're built for, and that's fine. They're not tanky in the traditional sense of being tanky. They're kind of a don't get hit play style. You do a lot of fizz to elemental conversion, like lightning coil. You have the crafts on helmet and gear that can convert physical damage to lightning damage, and you run grace, spell suppression, trying to get your fizz mitigation by not taking fizz damage instead of actually using armor. The biggest thing about Lightning Arrow is it scales with your bow and not level. You use a tri-elemental bow. Trinity, usual setup. Super fun build though. The other nerf I think you could see with Lightning Arrow is Mana Forged Arrows. Currently Mana Forged Arrows I consider completely broken. If you combine Mana Forged Arrows with Life Tap, it just goes off every time. I think that interaction gets changed. You probably won't be able to use Life Tap and Mana Forged Arrows together. Seems incredibly busted at the moment. So that is Lightning Arrow. And that is the top 5. I want to put a general list of what to look out for in the patch notes. Dot nerfs, I put this in there every league. Dot seems like the easiest to scale at league start. If there's an overall change to the way dots work in Path of Exile, then I think you'll get a brand new list of top 5s. Gem level scaling changes, so if there's any direct nerfs to gems in particular and the way they scale damage, a lot of these builds scale with gem level instead of weapons. The exceptions there are bow and bone shatter. Everything else pretty much scales with your gem level. To the biggest direct nerf thing, Heat Shiver is probably due for a nerf. The fact that pretty much every cold build just gets like double damaged by using Heat Shiver is kind of insane. So kind of need a nerf to Heat Shiver, in my opinion. Second is tri-elemental bows. Seems like the fact that like even if Lightning Arrow got nerfed, we would just play like Ice Shot. There's a problem with how much like elemental damage is on bows at the moment. Bows are incredibly strong, fast, clear the whole screen one left click basically. So we'll see if that gets changed at all. Lastly, I would throw us in there. I think we're due for some buffs. Melee needs some help. There's a lot of like self-casting spells that need help. So we'll see some buffs. Maybe we'll get some new skill gems. I mean, this is supposed to be a big patch. So that's what I'm looking out for. Buffs, new skills, changes to ascendancies, anything like that. There are some super lagging ascendancies like Gladiator, Assassin are currently way underplayed compared to everything else. So that'll be a nice to look out for. That being said, if you checked out this whole video, make sure to click the like, subscribe button down below. It means a ton to me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're looking out for in the patch notes. And as always, see you next time. Thanks.